What's up guys, it's Victor here again. In this video, I'll be comparing these two smartphones. This is the Zero 5G, Infinix Zero 5G from Infinix, while this is the Redmi Note 11S. I'm going to be opening the same app simultaneously on these guys. But before then, we'll take a close look at their specs and how they really compare to each other and what they offer as value for 166,000 naira for the Infinix Zero 5G and 139,000 naira for the Note 11S. How much of value do they offer at this price point? We'll be taking a look at this and then we'll do the speed test. If you're a new subscriber, you're welcome. If you are old, you're welcome. Please do subscribe and turn on the notification bell icon to be notified whenever I put up another video like this one. Okay, let's start with the design of these smartphones. The Infinix Zero 5G design is kind of my favorite. This color especially, I love the design. It mimics leather and it looks premium to the eye and touch. It's also able to hide fingerprint smudges. On the other hand, the Redmi Note 11S has a beautiful design, but I still like the Infinix design more because of that leather feel and the way the camera flushes to the edge. Do not be tricked, both of them are made from polycarbonate materials. So the leather feel, the leather material you're seeing on the Infinix Zero 5G is actually plastic. So both of them are made from the same material. And it's kind of a bummer because we know Redmi to offer premium quality material at a very affordable price. Apart from this, other Redmis came with glass back and glass front, but this one came with a plastic back, a plastic frame, but with a glass front. The good news is that Redmi specified the kind of glass they use on this guy, which is the Gorilla Glass 3, whereas on the Infinix Zero 5G there's no word on the material or the quality of glass used to protect the display. On the bottom edge and on the Infinix Zero 5G, you'll find the speaker wheel. It's a mono speaker setup, and then there's the 3.5mm, and then there's the USB Type-C port, there's the microphone and the headphone jack. Whereas on the Infinix Zero 5G, you'll find the second speaker, the second loudspeaker, making it a stereo speaker setup, the USB Type-C port, and then a microphone. The Infinix Zero 5G has a 6.7 inches IPS LCD display with a resolution of 1080 by 2460 pixels and a refresh rate of 120Hz. While the Redmi Note 11S has a 6.4 inches AMOLED display with a resolution of 1080 by 2400 pixels and the screen is refreshing at 90Hz. Like I mentioned earlier, it has Gorilla Glass protection on the front. So they produce quite vivid images, both of them. But of course, the Redmi Note 11S with the AMOLED display has the edge here because of that AMOLED display. So you have deeper blacks and richer colors, and also you enjoy the goodness of always on display, even though the always on display doesn't always stay on display, but then when you need it, you just tap at the screen and then it comes on. Now, even though the Redmi Note 11S has the better display, obviously the Infinix Zero 5G came with a higher refresh rate of 120Hz, so you get a smoother scroll on the Infinix Zero 5G than on the Redmi Note 11S. On the Infinix Zero 5G, you get 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of internal storage space, while on the Redmi Note 11S, there's a 6 gig variant with 64 gigs internal storage. There's also a 6 gig variant with 128 gigs of internal storage space. There's also an 8 gig variant with 128 gigs of internal storage. This one is the 6 gig variant with 128 gigs of internal storage. And I know it's not fair comparing it to the Zero 5G with 8 gigs and 128 gigs. The Infinix Zero 5G has the quite powerful Helio Dimensity 900 chipset, which is a 5G chipset, so making this phone a 5G phone. The Helio G96 from MediaTek is powering the Note 11S. It is a 12 nanometer processor and it has 8 cores, so it's an octa-core processor, while the Dimensity 900 on the Infinix Zero 5G is a 6 nanometer processor, making it more efficient. On paper and on benchmarks, the Infinix Zero 5G outperforms the Note 11S, but we'll see how it fares in real life in the speed test coming up shortly. Both of these smartphones have a 5000 mAh battery and it is very sufficient. The battery life on the Redmi Note 11S is spectacular, it's fabulous. This phone keeps going, the standby time is incredible. It stays for days without me charging it and it deserves some accolade. It's also worthy to note that the Infinix Zero 5G has only one speaker, so it's a mono speaker setup here, and on the Redmi Note 11S it's a dual speaker setup, so you have a speaker on top and then the speaker beneath. On the Infinix Zero 5G there are 3 cameras on the back of the device: a main 48 megapixel camera, a 13 megapixel telephoto lens, and a 2 megapixel unknown camera. While on the Redmi Note 11S, it's a quad camera setup. So there's a main 108 megapixel camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 2 megapixel macro camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera. The Infinix Zero 5G has a 60 megapixel selfie camera. Also, the Redmi Note 11S has a 60 megapixel camera. I had reviewed these smartphones and I have the videos on my channel. I talked about the camera and other specifications, so I'll leave a link to that video in the description so you can take a look and learn more about these devices. On the Infinix Zero 5G, the highest video resolution, if you are shooting videos, is 4K at 30 frames per second, whereas on the Redmi Note 11S, you can only go as high as 1080p 30 frames per second. On the selfie side, the highest resolution on both these devices is 1080p at 30 frames per second. So let's now go to the comparison properly. So we are going to be opening the same apps simultaneously. So we have TikTok, Temple Run, Asphalt 9, Slack, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Geekbench. Let us begin. For the first app, let's open TikTok. For TikTok, the Infinix Zero 5G took the lead. Next is Temple Run 2. Asphalt 9 is a power-intensive app, and let's see how these two smartphones handles Asphalt 9. So the next app is a productivity app, Slack. So let's open YouTube, Twitter. Now we'll give it to the Infinix Zero 5G here, Instagram. This is a draw. Then Geekbench, and we'll also run the Geekbench test. Okay, Infinix Zero 5G, open the app first. Alright, the Geekbench test is done, and on the Infinix Zero 5G, we have a single core score of 707 and a multi-core score of 2114, while on the Redmi Note 11S we have a single core score of 524 and a multi-core score of 1786. The difference is quite tangible, but like you've seen in the performance test or in the app opening test, their real life performance is not that far from each other, but on benchmark, on paper, this is a much better device than this. So it means for everyday users that this is a very sufficient phone for them. At 139,000 naira, you're getting all the gorgeous goodness of AMOLED, and you're also getting a 108 megapixel camera. So this is not a camera phone, so this is for power users, for gamers. This is a very good phone, and it's very fast. It's a 5G phone. So after this test and the app opening and the Geekbench, for temperature, this on my hand feels a lot more hotter than this. Please do subscribe if you're not, and also turn on the notification bell icon to be notified whenever I put up another video like this. Also check out the video by your right and the video by your left. Thank you for watching this one, and I'll see you when I see you in the next one. Bye.